Hi there, you're on Gossip Says channel. Enjoy watching, subscribe and like it. It's growing our community. My 21 Fahrenheit mother 46 Fahrenheit hates my sister 6 Fahrenheit with Down syndrome and blames her for our dad leaving us. She won't let me take custody of her and I don't know how to continue living like this. The 2nd of July 2020. To preface this, we live in Austin, TX. My mom was 39 when she got pregnant with my sister, and a few days after her diagnostic screening confirmed it was a baby with Down syndrome. Our dad moved out and filed for divorce. Without my dad's income, Mom had to sell our house and we moved to a different neighborhood. It was nice, but it wasn't an upper middle class neighborhood like the one we used to live in. During her pregnancy, she was committed to being the best mom to my sister, let's call her Mary, and me. A few weeks after giving birth to Mary, who, other than Down syndrome, had no other health issues, my parents' divorce was finalized. Mom got full custody and Dad got visitation rights twice a week, but I refused to see him and he didn't want anything to do with Mary. To this day, we don't have a relationship at all. Him and Mom were never very hands-on parents. I had a lot of nannies growing up, but I never thought both of them would end up being so fucked up. The finalization of the divorce hit my mom like a truck and she spiraled into postpartum depression. I was a high school freshman when all of this happened, and on top of having to move to a different place where I didn't know anyone, I had to step up and help take care of my sister because my mom couldn't do it alone. While I was at school, she would do the most basic things like give Mary the bottle and change her diaper, and then she would wait for me to come home and help with the chores and Mary. To help was to clean up the house a bit, take care of Mary for the rest of the day, nap time, playtime, sensory time, physical therapy at home following the activities spreadsheet her physical therapist gave us, changing her diapers, feeding her for the rest of the day and night, bathing her and putting her down to sleep, order dinner because neither one of us was a great cook, and also find time to study and do schoolwork. Even though my mom had 10 weeks of paid maternity leave, she decided to go back to work when Mary was 8 weeks old. She did find the best daycare for her, and I was honestly relieved knowing that Mary would be properly cared for while I was at school. My mom started to get better once she was back to work, but she still didn't care that much about Mary. So I called her sister, my aunt, and told her everything. She offered to find my mom a good therapist and pay for it, and my mom agreed and she started therapy. Something I feel is important to mention about my aunt. She married into a wealthy family and lives in Georgia. She has 3 daughters and a son aged 16, 20, 23, and 25. And she's very conservative. While she's never openly talked about Mary having Down syndrome, it's visible that she's bothered by it. She's especially bothered by the fact that my mom lost a good marriage and a good home because of Mary. She never calls for Mary's birthday, but she does wire me $200 to get her a present every single year. It's basically pity money to acknowledge that Mary exists, and that's it. I'm waiting for the day I'm financially stable enough to give her back all the fucking birthday money she sent us over the years. During high school summer breaks, my mom would be angry with me because I refused to work and make money for my own expenses. My father did pay around $2,000 in child support for Mary and me, but that money would go towards our health insurance, and whatever remained would be for me to buy anything Mary and I needed that wasn't food, medicine, or gas. I didn't want to work because summers were the only time of the year where I could actually have some time for myself. Every summer, Mary would only be in daycare a few times a week for a few hours while I would do housework and run errands, and we would spend the rest of our time together. She certainly had some developmental delays, but by the time she was 3.5, Mary was already walking, talking, sleeping in her big girl bed, and she was potty trained. All of that because I worked with her and I did whatever I could to make sure she was as independent as possible. Right around that time, my mom stopped seeing her therapist and she'd already been off antidepressants for a while. She was no longer struggling with depression, She just regretted having Mary, and making peace with that was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I always hoped that she would get better and that she would come around. But no medicine could help the way she disregarded Mary. Please subscribe, leave comments, rate videos, and click the bell not to miss my videos. I graduated high school, and even though I had known for years that college wouldn't be a part of my reality, it was a really painful time for me because it's something I wanted. Still, after a 1-month trial period at my friend's mom's event planning agency, I landed a full-time, well-paying job. Mom and I were a bit financially stressed because my portion of the child support ended when I turned 18, so this job really saved us, and I was so excited to finally start saving money and to give Mary her own room since we were sharing one. But since I got a new job, my mom decided to cut her hours and only work part-time because she was tired of being the sole breadwinner and she deserved to slow down and semi-retire. I was really pissed off because I had to pay for roughly 70% of all monthly expenses for the household while she would pitch in here and there and spend the rest of her money however she liked. She no longer felt obligated to financially contribute. I ended up getting a second job a few months later. It wasn't a full-time job because I worked from home and I got to choose my projects. I basically booked social media influencers with companies and helped them figure out if they were a good match for advertisements and campaigns. It was really easy, and I was able to make an additional $800, $1,500 a month. After about a year, I had saved enough to buy a really good used car. My mom did get me a used car for my 16th birthday, but she didn't want to pay for all the repairs it needed, so I spent over 3 years driving Mary and myself in an unsafe car. I was proud of myself, so you can imagine the absolute shock that ensued when my friend called me to ask me why I was selling the car I just got. My mom posted photos of my car on her Facebook and put it up for sale because, according to her, I didn't need a fancy car. She said we could split the money and I could get a more cost-effective car since I had to be more responsible with my finances. The argument that followed was our biggest one yet, and we ended up establishing some strict rules when it comes to our relationship. From that moment on, our mom became like a roommate to Mary and me. I even stopped calling her mom and started using her name. I did find comfort in knowing that Mary wasn't alone in this. Our mother was treating me the same, and it was not us. It was never us. She's just someone who never should have been a parent. I remodeled an upstairs office in our home and turned it into Mary's safari-themed bedroom. I got us annual Disney passes. We travel and go on little road trips together. I've learned to cook pretty well, and Mary loves helping me. I have 3 friends I consider family who love Mary and me unconditionally. It's a good life. A great fucking life. So I hate the fact that I'm subconsciously victimizing myself because of everything. I've kissed once. I've been on 2 dates with 2 different guys. I've never had sex. I never party. I take Mary to my hair and nail appointments. I take care of all of her medical appointments and therapy. I know every nursery rhyme and toy unboxing video to ever have existed on YouTube. God, I feel guilty even typing this out. But I get overwhelmed with sadness and bitterness when I think of the life I wanted and never got to have. I'm like a 50-year-old trapped in a 21-year-old girl's body. And it hurts even more when I hear how my mother compares me to my 20-year-old cousin who moved to Austin for college. The 2 of them go shopping together. They have brunch together. She knows all about her fun college life, the boys she's dating, and she makes sure to always emphasize how lucky my aunt is to have such great, accomplished kids. Another thing she likes to do is mention how my other cousin has won several beauty pageants, and she only does this because my friends once asked me if I'd like to apply for our school's pageant, and she tried to embarrass me in front of them by saying that I couldn't win anything with my daddy's face. I throw myself a mini pity party whenever she kicks me where it hurts, and then I look at Mary, at this sweet, little, soon-to-be 7-year-old girl who just finished 1st grade with the most smiley and star stickers from her teacher, and I feel so ashamed of myself. Quarantine has been difficult for us because we suddenly had to be home with our mother all the time. I had to coordinate my work and Mary's homeschooling, and I really tried to minimize all outings because Mary has asthma, which makes her high risk. My mother, however, would go to the store twice a day just to get out, or she would go to the park. And even now that things have started to open up, she was the first one to go and eat out and visit friends like it's no big deal. Because of that, another huge argument ensued, and I told her that we should go our separate ways if she'll let me take custody of Mary. I was serious and she knew that. She told me that Mary has already caused her embarrassment because she had to divorce and that she's not letting it happen a second time by making herself seem like she's unfit to parent. And she's right. I don't have much to go on even if I wanted to take her to court to claim that she's unfit, at least not with this budget. It would completely drain my finances and I would probably lose the case and lose Mary for good. She's not abusive or hostile towards Mary. She's just not anything towards her. It's not even neglect because she does pay for a few things and she will babysit if I have to run somewhere. But she's literally like a stranger roommate to us, not a mom. That really crushed me, and I was sitting in the kitchen thinking about everything when Mary came to ask me for a snack. I didn't hear what she said, so she talked back and I yelled at her. I snapped at her for the first time ever, and she looked at me the same way she looks at our mother. I'm so terrified that I'll allow myself to become like her because she's just pushing my buttons whenever she can. At this point, all I can do is save money like crazy and gather copies of all my finances and bills as proof that I take care of Mary, and wait for a few years until I can pay for a good lawyer and court expenses. I can't spend decades with this woman and wait until she dies and I get custody over Mary. I can't. I don't know what else to do to keep my sanity and, most importantly, to stop these feelings of self-pity and victimization, because all they do is make me feel guilty and Mary doesn't deserve that. I need a pair of fresh eyes to read this and give me some advice. Edit. I've been contacted by a legal advisor whose company does pro bono work, so I'm going from there. I also didn't want to make it sound like I have no money. I have a great salary and I have enough to afford things like Disney trips and eating out a few times a week. But I pay for almost all household expenses. I pay for insurance. I pay for everything that Mary needs, and that's why I don't have much in savings. I'm actually going to transfer half of the bills to my name and only pay my half. I know my mom well enough to know that she'll get a little mad and then she'll use this to milk more money out of my aunt. I will also pick up extra freelance work, and since we've been actively quarantined, we've already cut back on a lot of expenses. With all of this, I'll be able to save even more to move out when the time comes. I don't want to drag Mary through court with Corona on the loose because she's high risk. I'll give it a few months until things hopefully calm down a bit, and then I'll take legal action. I just needed reassurance and encouragement that it is possible to find a way out. Edit 2. Oh, and I promise I will have my friends babysit Mary, and I will go out more post-corona and do things for myself. Maybe I'll even start dating. I'll suck at it, but hey, we all start somewhere. It's really easy for me to feel incapable when I need help, but you guys made it clear that help should be welcomed. I don't think I've ever felt this much support coming my way. I've also been researching therapists for a while now. I'm not sure if I'll go to therapy right now because I want to tighten our budget, but it's one of my priorities. And yes, my mom and aunt really are a pair of Karens. Don't I know it? Update: my 21 Fahrenheit mother 46 Fahrenheit hates my sister 6 Fahrenheit with Down syndrome and blames her for our dad leaving us. She won't let me take custody of her, and I don't know how to continue living like this. The 1st of December 2021. Hey everyone, it's been about a year and a half since I first posted here. I've spent the past few months debating whether or not I should post an update, and I decided to post one because this community had my back the first time. And that's what I need again. I need words of encouragement and support to help me get through my first Christmas without Mary. Last year, after posting here, I got in touch with a few kind individuals who helped me get free legal counseling. At the counseling, the attorney I was talking to thought it would be best to comb through my own life, fix whatever had to be fixed, and then proceed to legally petition for guardianship over Mary. He didn't think I had much to go on because, as I wrote earlier, my mom wasn't completely neglectful. She wasn't abusive and she wasn't unfit to parent. She just had no problem dumping almost everything on me and using my love for Mary to manipulate me into not leaving. But he also thought that even though it was probably going to be messy, I could win. The only major problem was the fact that I had to move out and leave Mary behind. Moving out meant I could prove that I can provide a good, safe, and stable home for Mary all on my own. So at the end of July 2020, I did the hardest thing I'd ever done, and I moved out of our family home and into a 2-bedroom apartment. 1 bedroom for me and 1 bedroom for, hopefully, Mary. In that same week, I was laid off work at the event planning agency. I felt miserable and like I'd made the worst mistake of my life. My friends really saved me during that time with their emotional help and support because all I did was cry and worry about Mary. I had to gather all my strength to get over the paralyzing fear that started to consume me. I still had my side gig that became my main income, but I could never support the two of us with that, so, on top of everything else, I started looking for another job. I got incredibly lucky with that, as a company I had worked with previously had an opening in their PR team and they hired me. All of this, from the day I moved out until the day I got another job, lasted about 3 weeks. And during those 3 weeks, I would see Mary once a day for about an hour. Our mom allowed me to continue visiting her, and she was being weirdly calm through all of this, which made me believe that she lawyered up and her odds were better than mine. I started reaching out to Mary's teachers, other parents I was on friendly terms with, her doctors, a few of our family members. I was basically looking for people who could support me in writing and let the court know that I was the one taking care of Mary. I also made copies of every document and receipt I had that could support my claim. My friends pitched in and gave me $1,500 of their own money to help me with the potential cost of everything, and then the most unexpected thing happened. My mother called me and told me she would willingly give up legal custody of Mary and petition to have it transferred to me. Those 4.5 weeks that she spent taking care of Mary all on her own were enough for her to realize that she didn't want that. She was never a mom to Mary, and she had no intention of becoming one. I think that realization hurt her deeply because during those weeks she did try, I could tell, and Mary in fact did tell me that mom was nice to her. But that was not the life she wanted, and even though I was terrified that our mother would put Mary in a care facility after moved out, I was happy that she admitted defeat to herself and did what was best for Mary. I felt like I could finally breathe. Things were going good. The whole legal process was a bit delayed due to COVID, but it didn't take too long. Mary moved in with me. We had a lot of catching up to do. I had a lot of explaining to do because she was so overwhelmed after I moved out of our house. We were settling into our new routine. We were happy. At the same time, COVID restrictions kept changing. School had already started, and I was terrified of navigating through it all. Mary had asthma that was fully under control, and she would only have minor flare-ups during allergy season, but it still made her high risk when it came to COVID. I held off on sending her back to school for in-person learning. I worked from home Tuesday through Friday, and I only had to be in office on Mondays. During that time, Mary would be at home with a nanny who was tested every time, and later on, she was vaccinated too. But the isolation was slowly getting to Mary as she was highly social, so I agreed to taking her to 1 play date a week and 1 outing of her choice per week, which was usually shopping. We did go on daily walks and little trips to nature, but that was usually just the two of us. Sometimes one of my friends who were also COVID safe would join us. None of it was enough. Or should I say all of it was too much? None of the precautions were enough, and all of the little outings I decided to make possible for her were too much. I lost Mary to COVID in February of this year. One morning she woke up with a fever, and I knew. Her symptoms developed rapidly. Her lungs lit up like a Christmas tree on the X-ray, and she was hospitalized. On day 2 of her hospital stay, she had to be put in an induced coma and placed on a ventilator. She was doing well for the first week, and then her blood pressure started dropping rapidly. My heart shattered into a million pieces when I saw the caller ID on my phone at 11:26 p.m., and it's been that way since. Our mother, who is fully blaming me, has moved back to Georgia to live with her sister. And I've been both alive and dead since the day Mary died. I haven't visited her little grave since the funeral. I pay someone every week to go to her grave, leave flowers for her, and clean up the previous ones. Sometimes I go to the graveyard multiple times a week, and I just stand by the fence, without moving forward. I'm angry and miserable and numb and heartbroken all at the same time. I've distanced myself from all of my friends who are still not giving up on me, but I can't bring myself to accept their help. I feel undeserving of it. I feel responsible and guilty, and like the only way I should be allowed to live my life is in complete pain. Because if Mary doesn't have a happy ending, why should I get to have one? I know I need help and therapy, and I have to learn to live with this. But I don't want that now. I want to spend my days in silence, talking only at work when I have to, and I just want to barely survive. I don't even feel worthy of suicide because my brain is telling me I'm undeserving of the easy way out. But if I share this with you, and I'm grasping at straws here, maybe someone will say something that will give me a drop of strength to at least get through the holiday season. Nobody loved Christmas more than Mary, and these days the pain is suffocating me as I look around and see how festive everything is. But the pain is the only thing I have now, as a reminder of how much love I had and still have for my Mary. I feel like a grain of rice being crushed by a mountain of horrible emotions, and right now this is the only way I can ask for some form of help through all the guilt and shame I'm feeling. Till Dry got the custody of my sister and then lost her to COVID. Edit. Reading through these comments and crying my eyes out at how unbelievably kind everyone is. Edit 2. I'm sorry for not being able to disclose everything without doxing myself. Mary was hospitalized for weeks. She was doing well for the first week, but anyone who has been on a ventilator themselves or they know someone who has, also know it's a very, very slow process. Unfortunately, I wasn't given a lot of hope on week 2 and the following weeks. At the time of her death, Mary was COVID negative, but her little body was so tired from fighting, and her blood pressure was the first thing to worsen her already fragile condition. So even though she was negative to the virus when she died, it's still what took her away from me. Without it, none of this would have happened. To everyone asking to send me something, I'm grateful, but I refuse. You can always give to those who are truly in need. I'm doing okay financially. Please subscribe, leave comments, rate videos, and click the bell not to miss my videos.